The horror story that I had was that one of the companies didn't tell me about the sizing, didn't tell me that it shouldn't go on my nipples. And so I had one that was too big. It was actually the first one that I used. This actually gave me the best lift, this one. But what it also gave me was gynecomastia. So you guys have probably seen that I've made a few videos on the vacuum bell. Now, I just want to start with this video by saying I am not an expert in the vacuum bell whatsoever. I am a personal trainer who specializes in helping people with Pectus Excavatum build muscle, open their posture to make their condition look as least noticeable as possible. The vacuum bell was something that I recently started talking about because I felt like I would be doing a disservice to the Pectus community as one of the main voices online about Pectus to not talk about the vacuum bell, because the reality is it can work. It seems to be most effective though if you are still growing. So, I have had adults who do seem to get a great change with it, but the results are mixed, and also I don't know if that's permanent. They're still often using it. So, what I've seen in terms of a permanent change and what the studies show is it's kind of when you're still growing that you're going to get the best result. But anyway, I thought, well, I should try it. So I tried the vacuum bell, not permanently, not to actually get a change, because to actually get a change takes years of daily application, and it only typically works if you're still growing. Me being like late 20s, it's not probably going to have made a permanent change. I just wanted to see what it felt like and what kind of acute change it gave me. And so I ordered a few vacuum bells from different companies to try them. And I made a YouTube video documenting this process. And acutely, I was like absolutely blown away at the change that the first vacuum bell that I ever tried gave me, like acutely. It almost creates like inflammation and swelling, and then it goes back down. And so I think that change is actually predominantly just like inflammation and swelling, and then like bruising, and not necessarily, it's not like your bone structure changing. It's like almost like fluid. I don't actually understand the full science of what that lift is, but it's definitely not a permanent lift. It goes back down after about a day. What you need to do to actually create the permanent change is continue to use it and probably still be growing. Otherwise your bones aren't really going to be malleable. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about with this video is not about how to use the vacuum bell, not about which one to buy, but I wanted to explain my horror story with it. And it's really, it's kind of awkward for me to talk about, but it's a really good lesson that I learned and for you guys to learn. Now the vacuum bell, firstly, you should go see a doctor before you use the vacuum bell. You want to make sure that they think it's appropriate for you. The reason I liked Pectus Healing and have referred them is because they have an onboard doctor. And out of the 3 companies that sent me the vacuum bell, they were the one who specified very clearly that it needs to be the right size. And so the horror story that I had was that one of the companies didn't tell me about the sizing. It didn't tell me that it shouldn't go on my nipples. And so I had one that was too big. It was actually the first one that I used. And this actually gave me the best lift, this one. But what it also gave me was gynecomastia. Yes, it gave me man boobs. And that was extremely self-conscious for me. You can actually see it in like some of the videos that I made. And yeah, I'm self-conscious of it. I obviously don't have it anymore when I stopped using the vacuum bell. But I was so confused why that came about. And then I learned that, it obviously came when I started using that vacuum bell and was trialing it. And it's a side effect of it if the vacuum's actually on your nipple. I'm not sure why or how that happens, but it happened, and it happened to me, and I know it's happened to other people, and it's a documented side effect, and it's certainly something you don't want. If you're already self-conscious of your body, gynecomastia isn't going to help. So you want to make sure you get a vacuum bell that's sized properly for you and isn't going to be on your nipples. Okay, this is important. So it's very important you're getting it either sized properly via a doctor looking at you or using like the cutout that Pectus Healing provide. You just want a vacuum bell that is sized properly. Okay, I think if you really want to use the vacuum bell, firstly you need to be aware that it might not make a permanent change if you're an adult. It might be more of a band-aid in which you need to be maintaining its use like once or twice a week to maintain that elevation. And obviously to start the elevation, you need to be using it daily. Again, it's a medical device though, so see your doctor about it. And then also I just wanted to put in a disclaimer that I'm not affiliated with Pectus Healing or any vacuum bell company. I don't make vacuum bells. I'm not a part of their team. I'm not a part of their service. So if you go and buy a vacuum bell, you do so based on your own research, and it's your own decision, okay? I'll have a link in the description for Pectus Healing because from the online providers I've tried, they seem to have the best quality and the best service and an onboard doctor, but I'm not telling you to buy from Pectus Healing whatsoever, okay? So if you do so, you do so under your own decision. I just wanted to get that video out there to educate you guys a bit more on the vacuum bell and explain that it's important it's sized properly for you. You do not want it touching your nipples, trust me. From my experience, it's not nice. And it's also very important that it is a medical device. You want to take it seriously. You want to have a doctor look at you and say it's a good fit, or talk to the Pectus Healing team, talk to their onboard doctor, make sure that it's something that they think is actually going to work for you and be worth your while, because it's not cheap, and it's something that you need to use consistently. It's not that comfortable, so you want to make sure you're doing it properly. And you also want to follow their tips in terms of application. Like, for example, when I tried it, I just blasted it like max capacity pump, which ended up really bruising my chest, which I didn't really care, but it is kind of uncomfortable. So some people might not like that feeling, so make sure you follow their advice, follow their guidance, get a doctor to give you approval of it, make sure it's not on your nipples. Anyway, one other thing I'd like to say is the vacuum bell is kind of pointless if you're not training, in my opinion, because without building the key muscle groups, opening posture, your pectus, you're not going to get the result in the body that you're confident in, right? And that's probably what you all want. You want to have a body you're confident in. It's not going to happen if you don't do weight training specific to pectus. Like, the vacuum bell is not going to address your body composition. It's not going to address your roob flare. These are all things that training can really help. So, and also the vacuum bell rarely actually makes your chest completely flat. It just helps lift it to make it less indented. And again, that's only going to really be permanent if you're still growing. And so, if you're still going to have an indented chest, just maybe less of an indent, but you're still going to be indented, you're still going to want to build the muscles around it to make it look less noticeable.